Hi, everyone, and welcome to the information session on the Master Track in Urban Housing and Land Justice. This program is part of the Master of Science in Urban Management and Development that we provide at IHS. So let's look into what we're going to cover in this presentation. We are going to first meet the lecturers. I have Dr. Maartje van Eerd and Fika with me today, who are the coordinators of this Master Track. So shortly, you will get to know them as well. We will also cover why study this program, more on the program content and its structure, what kind of assignments and teaching methods do we use, then how does this program contribute to the SDGs. Then we go on the technicalities side with the admission and application requirements, a bit about our alumni, and we finish off with ways of contacting IHS. So I will give the floor to my colleagues to introduce themselves.
Hi, hello. Well, a few words about me. My name is Maartje van Eerd. I'm one of the coordinators of this master track. I'm a senior specialist in housing and social development and an assistant professor at the Institute. I'm a human geographer, and my research expertise and interest lies in the field of housing rights. So I teach about housing rights, about resettlement, gender and inclusion, access to information and digital inclusion, and then linked to housing and resettlement, and incremental housing and sites and services.
Okay, hello everyone, and welcome and good day to you all. My name is Fika. I'm a senior specialist in urban land governance and development. And my areas of expertise lies in land and property rights, land-based finance, including land value capture, formal and informal land markets, land tenure modalities, which is very complex and quite interesting. We deal with a lot of land instruments, especially land instruments focused on equitable and sustainable development. And we look at not only urban areas, but also peri-urban land development and governance.
Yeah, this is the team of Urban Housing and Land Justice. We have an international multidisciplinary team. So we see here myself, Ora. Ora is originally from Nigeria. I am from the Netherlands. We have Dr. Alonso Ayala, who is originally from Venezuela. We have Bahar Sakizoglu, who is from Turkey originally. We have Charm Nerkua from the Philippines originally, and Carolina Luneta from Brazil. And the multidisciplinarity is we have human geographers, we have housing and land experts, we have planners, and we have sociologists in the team.
Yes, let's look at the year structure before we dive into the content. So you can see that the year is built from 3 blocks. The first block starts from 1st of September when the master program starts until Christmas, end of December. This block we call the core period. So during this time you have the 3 subjects with all the other master tracks of the master program, such as urban complexity, urban governance, and urban data analytics. These courses are partially for your thesis, so you will use urban data analytics to analyze data in your research, and the other 2 courses are generally the same for all the master tracks. Then in the second block, we have the specialization period, where you have courses only within your master track. So these are smaller groups, group works and workshops. And you also have the research design in this block that helps you write your thesis and how to design your research. And at the end of this block, you will work on your thesis proposal that you have to hand in. And depending on the decision, you can start the thesis period from May, and that lasts until the end of August, when we have the graduation ceremony for all of our students. That is always a very lovely event and a very fun party as well. Let's look at why study this program.
Why study this program? It's a great program. Well, in terms of knowledge and skills, you will acquire the knowledge and critical thinking skills to influence housing and land policies and strategies. And also the interdisciplinarity of the course will help you to understand how housing intersects with land to impact socio-spatial, economic and ecological justice. And with regards to career opportunities, the course will build or strengthen your career pathway as a researcher or an urban professional and actor in the land and housing sector and related fields.
So let's go into the content of our master track, Urban Housing and Land Justice. Well, the content is designed to equip students to get the knowledge and the skills needed to mitigate and remedy the housing and land challenges. And to do that, we have 6 models, and I'll introduce the first 3. The first one will be housing and land justice. And here it's a very critical topic because it's aimed at equitable and sustainable development. We look at land and housing justice, defining it, knowing what it is. We look at land and property rights. We look at issues like right to the city. We look at also issues like gentrification that's plaguing many of our cities, or big cities, which brings about inequality. We look at gender justice and rights. We look at environmental justice, which ties everything together. In the second module, we look at land-based finance, and we're looking at the financialization of land. And in looking at it, we're looking at instruments, and well, the topic looks at land value capture, land and property taxation, development obligation. We also look at formal and informal land markets. We look at a very important issue that cuts across many, many topics in the world, the commodification of land. We look at land grabbing. We look at the legal issues like the expropriation and compensation and land tenure modalities. This really is looking at ways in which to bring about looking at land as an engine of equitable development. The third module now dives into the instruments to be able to achieve equitable development itself. And we look at topics like transfer of development rights, community land trust, targeting low-income housing recipients. We look at inclusionary zoning and housing, land readjustment, land leasing, and banking.
Yes, and then model 4 will zoom into housing and the housing policy approaches. So we look at housing policy trends, the development of housing policies over the years, and then looking at the housing approaches. And then the approaches that we will look into more in depth are informal settlements, upgrading, incremental housing, social housing. We also have an excursion in the Netherlands to social housing projects. We look into resettlement, and we have a workshop on gender responsive resettlement action planning. We look at homelessness and housing for refugees. And then in model 5, that dives into housing, the economy and the environment, where we look at housing and climate change, housing and energy transition, nature-based solutions for housing sustainability, and we look at sustainable human settlement planning. And in model 6, there we come back to the housing and land nexus, where we have the GLAD claim, or we'll tell more about the GLAD claim in the next slide. And then we will also reflect on the nexus between housing and land. So we will discuss everything that we have learned throughout the course and reflect now, what is now its nexus all about? And all these sessions, we have in the sessions also many case studies from our work from all over the world.
Okay, so teaching methods and resources. So if you join this track, this master track, you'll be exposed to different teaching methods. You will learn through different teaching methods. We have interactive lectures. We want to hear from you. What your experiences, your knowledge is also important, and we have critical discussions and debates. We look at, as Maartje mentioned, international case studies from the global north and the global south. We look at educational games, a lot which I will explain more in detail. problem-based learning is key to us, and it is also reflected in the case studies in which we bring in. We have different workshops and exercises, and of course, we have field visits to places where students can also get inspiration and insight into. So about the GLOT game. The GLOT game is a game that has been developed by IHS and, of course, the Lincoln Institute of Land Policy. And this game is a game that showcases the complexity of land and housing justice and the need for it, right, in our society. So it's an interactive educational game that illustrates how land markets and stakeholder participation and decision-making shape cities over time, and how that affects equity, sustainability, resilience in land and housing in cities. The game has different stakeholders, and students play a role, whether it be commercial, rich, middle class, poor, speculators, government, NGOs, and they make the city. They invest in the city, they make decisions in the city. It's a very interesting game, and we hope that we can see you at IHS also participating and playing the game.
Yes, and then we have the field visit. Every year we have an excursion, and for the last couple of years we've been going to Delft, very interesting, nice, small city, close to Rotterdam, where we visited a social housing project. So we are invited by a social housing corporation. They give a lecture or a session on social housing in the Netherlands. And then they took us around to their project. You see the students in one of their projects. And then in the afternoon, we go to the TU Delft, where there is also a lecture on social housing in the Netherlands. It's always a very nice day. We go out together to Delft by train, and it's just, also fun. And then we also have the option, because everybody has to do the thesis, write a thesis, do research. And we have the option at IHS to join the research atelier in Chennai in India. That is a research atelier that focuses on housing, resettlement, but also lands, looking at incremental housing, tenure security, climate change impacts, the housing and land nexus, and livelihoods. So we work with local partners, and we want the research of our students to add value to local organizations. This is an option, so students from other specializations, master tracks, can also join. And the advantage is then that you can go as a group to do fieldwork, and you have more guidance from our partners there. So these are people at the university, experts, but also people working for NGOs that provide guidance. And you also have access to the facilities of the university, of our partner university, Anna University in Chennai. So that's a possibility. You can come with your own idea and develop your idea and your proposal and your topic throughout the specialization. You can go back to your own country, but you can also do research in the Netherlands or come to Chennai. And here is an overview of some examples of recent theses. That shows the variety of thesis topics. Of course, they have to be linked to housing and land, obviously. But we had, for instance, a study on housing transformation in Mathare, Nairobi. We have had a thesis on shared equity, shared strength, on community land trusts and resilience in the US. We had a study in Uganda on the influence of participatory land mapping through land inventory approach on women land rights in Bulera sub-country in central Uganda. And we have one thesis on social capital in resettlement in Pirambakkam. So this person joined the research atelier in Chennai. So a wide variety of topics within the housing and land field.
So, contribution to SDGs. The Land and Housing Justice Master Track is aligned with the content of SDGs. It's one of our aims. It's very important to us. So we really give students the opportunity to collectively and individually work towards achieving SDGs. So we have many SDGs that we are connected to. For example, one important one is no poverty. A very one close to us is the SDG 11 because of our urban housing and urban housing and land justice is very important to us and also to IHS as an institution. So we look at SDG from 1, 10, 15, 2, 11, 13, 17, all these SDGs are in our specialization, are in our content, are in our research that we do, and we hope that coming to this specialization, being part of it, you are able to contribute to achieving all the SDGs that we have mentioned.
Yes, thank you, Ore. After all the content, I'm coming with an overview of the program. So as I mentioned earlier, the program is 12 months. We always start in September and end in late August. We have a flat rate tuition fee, which is 17,800 euros. It is the same fee regardless of your nationality. So Europeans, non-European pay the same price. We also have several deadlines. The early bird deadline is 15 May each year. So if you submit your fees by 15 May, you can get 2,000 of the tuition fee. And we have regular deadlines as well. Non-EU is 1 June and EU EEA deadline is 1 July. A bit about the admission requirements. So we don't have that many, but they're very important for us. We genuinely require good academic performance with at least second class lower B or equivalent. It is also important that you have a bachelor degree at least from a recognized university in a field related to urban development. These fields are changing based on the master track that you're applying for. I will take a look at the related fields to this specific master track in a bit. It is also important to have a sufficient command of English as the master program is fully taught in English, which is a TOEFL 90 or an IELTS 6.5 in the case of IHS. It's also important that you're able to interact and work with people from very diverse backgrounds because our classroom is usually very international. So it's good if you're used to this or if you're willing to explore. And working experience is not a requirement, but it is definitely an asset. So we always like to encourage peer learning within the classroom. We have students who just graduated their bachelor's, but we also have students who have years or multiple years of experience in the field. And we always like to foster this peer learning environment. So you don't only learn from my colleagues Ore and Maartje, but also from your own classmates. And you can see here the relevant and partially relevant educational backgrounds. So as you can see, there are many. This also aligns with our peer learning experience. So you will discuss topics about housing and land with people from very different backgrounds. We have people from political sciences in the course. We have, of course, architects, but you can also be eligible for the program if you have forestry or rural studies, as we like to really hear your opinion on topics, and it gives another layer of excitement and knowledge to our classroom. And you must be asking how to finance your studies. So we have a partial scholarship at IHS called NL Scholarship, which is 5,000 euros, and we give this to 4 students who are coming to the Netherlands for the first time. So these are specifically for non-European students. This is given based on excellence, and the application deadline is usually around early April. We also have the early bird tuition fee waiver that I mentioned in the previous slide. So if you pay the fees before 15 May, this year it's 15 May 2024, but we have the 15th May deadline for all the upcoming years. Then you can save 2,000 euros on the tuition fee. And these two, is important to know that you can combine them. So if you pay the tuition fee early and you also receive the annual scholarship, you can save a big chunk of the scholarship, a big chunk of the tuition fee already. We also have an external scholarship database that you can find out more about on our website. We have country-specific scholarships and also more global scholarships depending on your nationality. And a bit about our alumni. So as you can see, we have alumni working and coming from very diverse backgrounds. So you can see that most of our alumni worked in the public sector. or the private sector. Some people go to continue their studies in academia. So we have a few current PhD students at IHS who, for example, completed the UMD master program and then went on doing a PhD at IHS as well. Most of our alumni are fully employed or are employers or entrepreneurs themselves. And some of them, as you can see, are students. So they are the people who continue their studies in PhD. This data is based on a recent survey that we did with our alumni, and we had around 500 people filling it out. So it's quite a good overview of what our alumni are doing. You can also see a few examples of job positions that our alumni do. So we have a leading analyst to consultants. We also have nature restorations officers. So there's really no typical IHS path that you have to follow after you finish. We always have people joining very different organizations, and there's really no typical IHS students, as you can see. So we hope to welcome you in our alumni community soon. How to get in touch with us? You can email the admissions office if you have any specific questions regarding your admission. You can also book a 10-minute call with our admissions officer if you're not sure about your background, if it's relevant or not. If you have specific inquiries about the master program, you can also email us at course-inquiries@ihs.nl. And you can find out more about us at www.ihs.nl. We would love to hear from you in any way. You can also stay connected to us on social media. So we are present on all social media, on Instagram and Twitter or X as IHS Erasmus Uni, where we post student-related content, interviews with our students, and more student-related content. On LinkedIn and Facebook, you can also find us as IHS Institute for Housing and Urban Development Studies. But specifically on LinkedIn, we post about our projects as well, so you can find out more about what our academics do when they are not teaching in the classroom. And we also have a YouTube channel where you're probably watching this video right now as IHS Rotterdam. So thank you for your attention, and we hope to see you at IHS soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Let me do something.